So listen, it happened before and will happen again, but this woman shook up social media when she shared her plans to propose to her boyfriend. Yeah, she said that even though they've been together for 14 years, it's just something that she wanted to do. So in response, she got things like in the comment section, "You could not waterboard me into proposing to a man." Sounds a little harsh. Andrea, I know the answer. Would you ever propose to a man?
Do we all know what my answer is gonna be? You know what? I'll tell you something. This woman, this has nothing to do with feminism or gender equality. I read through this article and this woman is desperate to get married to this man. And I'll tell you why. Her quote, "This is just something I feel I have to do." They've been dating for 14 years and she says, well, he tells me that he wants to spend the rest of his life with me, but you know, I just feel like he's just not proposing. This feels, and we all have that friend who's like anxious about the fact that the proposal hasn't happened, and she reeks of this. So I feel like this is not someone who's like, you know what, to hell with convention. I just want to do things my way. I'm not going to wait. This is a woman who's like, it's been 14 years and I haven't gotten a ring, and you know what, I'm going to ask. That's what this feels like, and if that's what you're doing it, I think she should not ask him, will you marry me? It's, do you want to marry me?
Oh!
That's the question she should be asking.
What do you think, Jess?
Saying.
Well, I think also a question, if we pull it out of this story, because I love everything you just said, if we pull it away,
Thank you.
if we pull it back, I'm curious to know, why wouldn't you, like the people who are like, no way, why wouldn't you propose to a man? Like, that's what I, is there anyone here that wouldn't?
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. You wouldn't?
I would never.
So let's unpack this. I'm so curious, why
listen,
not?
I know I'm a proud and loud feminist. I am. Except, I have to unpack this.
Yeah.
I think, yes, there is still definitely a convention and a tradition that goes back to a different time where the woman wants to be the one chosen. And I don't think that that's altogether a bad thing today. We want to be the one chosen. Like, you choose me,
but
right?
Can't you be isn't there something more empowered about you making the choice? Especially in this day of age, if we want equality.
Yes, it sounds good.
Guys, I know.
It sounds
Well,
good.
you're making a choice to be
It's not
with him.
happening.
But
there's less than 1% of couples where the woman has proposed to the man. I'm not alone. 99% are feeling the way I do.
No, and I agree with you. I think it is something that it's very embedded in our culture that there's one way in heterosexual couples that this runs, generally speaking. I just think it is worth considering. It doesn't mean that everyone has to buck tradition, but that if more women feel like, you know what, I am an empowered person, I want to make a choice for my life, and I want to be the one proposing, I think we should encourage
Jason
more
propose
of
to
this.
you?
He did, but the thing is like, let's not pretend also.
I just had to ask.
It's fine. It's fine, but I will say that we already owned a home together. We'd already talked a lot about weddings. So the last thing about the proposal, I knew it was coming.
But would you have ever asked him?
Like that's 25 years ago we got together, right? It's a long time ago. If it was today, I absolutely would ask someone to marry me. Absolutely. And I think we should encourage more of that. We're not alone, though. There are people who are famous. Kristen Bell, I don't know if you know this, she proposed to Dax Shepard on Twitter. He had initially, I think, yes. And this was it. They were waiting to get married. Anyway, she's not alone. Pink proposed to her husband, that writer, Carrie Hart.
Yeah.
She actually held up a sign after one of his, whatever, I don't know what it could call it, one of his motocross events. And then that was her proposing. So more and more women are doing this. I think next generation, we're going to see Marquesa might propose if she is interested in guys.
Yeah.
And you got to encourage that.
No, and actually, if she did, I would support her. And I'm going to tell you why, though, because there's something shifting, and I don't know if this has something to do with it, but back in the day, you had the man propose because it had to show his financial prowess.
Yeah, how many cows he had.
How many cows he had.
Yeah,
and women, we also had no agency. We had no power.
Exactly,
so,
right.
And then now we do. So, like, I'm so curious to know, like, just...
I'll tell you.
Yes.
Here it is. It's very interesting. We have these discussions outside, and we have these discussions at the table about women taking on so much, especially when they're married with children. All of the housework is that you're expected to do that. You're expected to remember everything. You're expected to be a great woman, sexy in the bedroom, all of these things. And I feel like, yes. So now, knowing all of those things and being on the dating scene where I'm telling you, the bar is in hell right now. You want me to turn around, now you're telling me that I should also get on my bended knee and ask? It is. Listen, marriage, statistically, marriage works better for men than it does for women.
But isn't that all the more reason that you should choose? He should be begging you.
No, statistically, he needs me, so he should be asking me. I don't need him. My life will still be good without a husband. Statistically, that is shown. So why am I asking you? You should be begging me.
You should
to bring my essence into your life.
Same act, different reason.
Yes.
Same act, different reason. Absolutely.
I'm not doing it. All right,
well, guys, we're changing nothing.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. All right. All right, from proposals to weddings, a bride wrote to the New York Times to ask if it's okay to tell your guests to drink in moderation. She says she and her fiancé just don't enjoy being around drunk people. So, is this a fair request to ask people to drink in moderation? Everybody's nodding yes.
Yeah.
Cynthia, what do you think?
I mean, I just don't know. I don't have friends who, I had a wedding and people were behaved. In fact, we had a whole bunch of extra booze left over. So I don't know what kind of friends this person has. But to me, if I got a thing as a grown adult that said, an invite that said, can you please watch how much you drink? I'd be like, what? Like, you don't trust me to behave myself at a wedding?
I actually love this idea. I love that they don't drink, but they still want their guests to enjoy a little wine or beer if they should like. And apparently they're just doing it on the FAQ, frequently asked questions on their website. Like just a little note that says, hey, FYI, this is not like a frat party. Just, enjoy yourselves, but let's keep it normal. And personally, as a guest who would imbibe, I wouldn't take that personally because I'd be like, that's not directed at me. That's directed at her Uncle Dean or her cousin Jerry.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
And
I'd be like,
correct.
And here's, as a person who has lots of Uncle Deans and Uncle Jerrys, I'll tell you something. First of all, they're not reading that. Someone would have to tell them. They're not reading that.
That's exactly
And second of all, I think what you're going to do is you're going to incite a riot. Going to be like, you're going to tell me? They're not going to take it the right way. They're going to be like, oh yeah, they're going to double down and show up drunk. I think what you got to do is don't micromanage people. Curate something if you want to control the situation. Make a list of 8 cocktails that have a theme to them, and that's all that you're offering. So you just don't discuss it with people.
So then they have 8 cocktails? That sounds like a nightmare.
But that's the way you curate, and then you control how much alcohol consumption instead of telling people, now if you could drink in moderation. What's your moderation?
So
what's my moderation? You don't know. Uncle Dean's moderation is different than mine.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
You know what? I'll tell you, I've been to some of those weddings where those people who get right off the rocker, it ruins the wedding. It can get
really
very
does.
messy.
Yeah.
So I get where they're coming from. As someone who does not drink anymore, I still throw events. You just came. I just threw a retreat, and it was a bunch of women. And the welcome reception, I did a mocktail night. Now the reason why I did this is not to dictate that my lifestyle I'm going to impose on you. Women could still buy their own alcohol if they wish. But my point is, people in general in this culture are moving away, slowly moving away from drinking the way we used to drink.
Yes.
Could be for health reasons, pregnancy, religion, etc. And I just think offering more options. This couple is not saying no alcohol.
Yeah.
They're not trying to tell you how to live your life. They're telling you, be an adult.
But
be an adult about it, you know?
The fact that you have to, maybe you need to
Moderation
reevaluate
is you
your
telling me how to
friends.
live
You
my
have to
life.
tell them.
Yes, but I'm sorry, it's their day and if they're paying the bill. So, there is a line. I don't know what that line is, but I think if this is, Uncle Dean is not reading the website, you're right.
He's not.
He's not reading the website, but if someone, probably his wife, is reading the website, she's gonna say, honey, keep yourself under control today.
Yeah.
Be an adult.
Be an adult, guys.
He's going to be in the
Be an
parking lot
adult.
drinking booze out of the trunk. Just saying.
Okay, so a shameful hit piece is what Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers call the new Netflix docuseries about hip-hop mogul's downfall. So it's produced by rival 50 Cent and includes never-before-seen clips from the days leading up to his arrest, alongside interviews with individuals alleging abuse, all of which Combs denies. Now, in July, Sean Combs was convicted on 2 charges of transportation to engage in prostitution, but found not guilty of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. Here's how we want to try to get into this story. How much influence do documentaries like this, and we've seen a lot of them recently, have on the court of public opinion, for better or worse?
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is this is the inverse of what we saw with the Free Britney documentaries. Remember, it was Controlling Britney Spears, and the New York Times had put out 2 documentaries back to back about Britney Spears when she was under conservatorship. What resulted in that was action in court. This is the reverse. His court case is over, and now the documentary has come out. So it's a little different because I think your mind is probably set already on what you think about Diddy. And I think he's done. I think Diddy's done.
It was set for many people, like, before the trial.
That's what I'm saying.
Even before the trial.
Yeah. The trial just put it all out there, literally. So that's where it's a little different. But this reminds me that documentaries, even though they feel truthy, they are not journalism. And so what I caution here is they can be used for good. Some people would argue that the Free Britney movement was a good thing. Many people today would say it's not. But in the case with Diddy, you have somebody by the name of Curtis Jackson, AKA 50 Cent, who is going into the dock with a point of view and a narrative. He is telling a story. He is not a journalist providing facts. So I think as long as we can kind of go into it with that idea, it might affect how you have an opinion about him. But again, the doc already, the case already came out. My mind was already set.
Right, so
this just pushed me further in one direction.
Here's a quick question. So if I tell you that 50 Cent, who has a production company, has like 40 different shows, if I told you that prior to this project, he had hired Diddy's 2 sons, Quincy and Justin, on separate projects and had them as actors on his prominent shows, would that change your opinion? Because I think what's happening is, because we know about this long-standing beef between these 2 men from a long time ago, a lot of people are kind of downplaying the importance of this documentary and the people who participated in it, because they're looking at it like, oh, this is just 50 being 50 and he's being vindictive and oh, you don't ever cross 50 because they'll do a documentary. The reality is people who are very close to Diddy, who worked with him, some people were related to him, and a lot of people were raped and mistreated, came forward and told stories. They did not get paid to tell those stories. Those stories were painful, and they were not beneficial to these people whatsoever. If anything, a lot of those stories were very embarrassing, not just for Diddy, but also for them. So I almost wish that, I know 50 also, he's connected to it, but he also put his money behind it. I wish that he was a silent partner so that people would pay more attention to the things that people said, because I'm telling you, when that thing was done, I followed the culture. I know Diddy, but I was like, wow, this is incredible.
Did he change your mind?
You know what, he was already in jail, but I was starting to soften on him a little bit, and I feel like this documentary was like, I was starting to soften on it. You know, I'm like, okay. And I don't know why I was doing that, but then when I watched this, I was like, these are all the stories. And I have a friend who was done wrong by Diddy 20 years ago. He wasn't paid for a campaign that he did. And I remember him telling me that story, and he was so upset. And I go, well, why don't you do something? And he goes, look at who I'm up against. Like, and if I want a career, I can't say anything. So to see all of these people have the same story that my friend told 20 years ago, I'm like, it opened my eyes. That's all I'm gonna say.
Interesting.
I gotta admit, sometimes I worry about the speed of at which these kind of documentaries are released. First of all, this is like the 3rd one already, I believe, on Sean Combs and the allegations. And it kind of feels like a race to get the most clicks, sometimes before the story is even told. And it feels like they're sort of capitalizing on these traumatic events just to get these clicks. So I kind of tend to prefer the documentaries. I'm thinking about ones like OJ Made in America and The Jinx, where a little time has passed. A little time there's been some distance between the filmmakers and the events so that they can allow for fact-checking, context, emotions to cool. It's kind of like they're not just reacting to a breaking story, they're interrogating the story itself.
Give it some room to breathe.
Give it some room to breathe. Whereas these ones are just like, they're so fast, and it feels manipulative, because why are they so fast? They just want this.
Interesting.
They just want this.
Very interesting. Okay, we're gonna move on to something very different now. A man on Reddit says he asked his mother-in-law to refrain from getting his kids Christmas presents after years of awful gifts, and she got really upset. So is this ever an appropriate ask to say, like, no to the gifts?
Right? But don't you want to know how bad those gifts were?
Yeah, I do.
A little bit, but I feel you can't ask, like, this is a grandmother. You can't ask your grandmother not to give gifts. And a little word of advice for this guy. My mother-in-law does it. You know, we've shut down the Secret Santa, but we can't stop her from getting gifts. And sometimes those gifts spread joy. And sometimes those gifts are so awful that they spread even more joy.
Yes.
They spread even more more joy. There is one, just very quickly. One year, she's got 4 sons. They all play different instruments. They all open these gifts, and it's like a 1980s Art Deco, like jazz player playing a saxophone. One's playing the drums, one's playing the bass. And she's like, "Don't you love them?" And they're like, where did you get these? She was like, they were on sale at the Sunnybrook gift shop, in the hospital gift shop. Can you believe they were only $10? And they're like, yes, I can believe these were. And those will go down in history as one of the best Christmases
ever.
because they were so bad. I love you, Marg.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is a perpetual, I mean, God bless Marg. We love you, Marg. That's very nice.
We do.
Yeah, I agree with you. You can, especially when it comes to grandparents. You know, I was the parent where I was like, I have a girl and she's not going to get girly gifts and I'm going to have only wooden toys, no lead paint on the toy. Remember when we were, you know, when before they're born and you get so hyper-focused on only the best things. And then, you know, the grandparents, you're going to do your own thing, is what I've learned, and you cannot control that. It is one day a year. They get to be a grandparent to a small child for this small window. Marquez is already 11. She's already asking me questions about Santa. It's very heartbreaking. This time is very short. So you kind of let the grandparents have their moment. Isn't that what being a grandparent is all about?
Yeah.
Hey, but let them have it.
Cynthia.
I hear everything, and I don't want to come off as a Scrooge or a Grinch, but I just think does the world need more crap in it? Like, we're encouraging a certain amount of stuff that we know is going to be the pipeline right to, you know, donation ideally, but like, you don't want this stuff to eventually end up in a landfill. So I think it's fair to try, at least attempt to put some boundaries around this, because
Grandma doesn't care about
like,
the land.
wait. Here's the rule. If the crap is from grandma and older relatives, yes. If the crap is from cousins or around your age, no. How about that?
That's fair.
Right?
All right. I like that.
Let the older family members have their connection.
Yeah.
If anyone finds those 4 jazz players at a second-hand shop, think of me. Get them together.
Actually, you know what?
Quartet.
Bring them to the studio and bring them here for Jess.
give it back to her.
So cute.
Well, listen, theater owners and many others are speaking out after news came out that Netflix has agreed to buy Warner Brothers in a deal valued at $82.7 billion. The streamer promises to maintain Warner Brothers operations, including theatrical releases, but alarm bells are going off about the future of movie theaters and so much more. Let's react to this big news. What do you think?
Yeah, I am concerned about these kind of monopolies that we see more and more in many different realms. There's just too much consolidated power. Although, has anyone had this experience where you just like want to sit down, you have a movie in mind or a series in mind, and then you have to go through all of your apps?
Yes.
Like you have to,
Like, where is it?
And then by the time you find it, if you do find it, you're exhausted, you don't even watch the stupid thing anymore. So if this could make it sort of simpler and cheaper, then maybe I'm behind it, but there are people who actually think this is going to make prices go up because they're going to have to pay for that whatever
That
billion
deal.
dollar
catalog.
I know, but you know what? I'm on the other end of that because I kind of love the freedom that I have as a consumer, that if I sign up for your app and then I've had it and I realize that there's nothing that I want to watch, or maybe something, you know, random happened, like the president of the United States was trying to get a talk show host fired.
Yeah.
I have the power.
Sure.
I have the power to go, you know what? I'm out. And if I want to come back, I come back. Whereas old school, your cable package, they really had you hemmed in and you couldn't get what you wanted. You had to pay extra if you like sports. You had to pay extra if you like arts. This is like, you can come and stay for a month. Sometimes I do that, where it's like, there's a series, I eat up the series, and then I go, unsubscribe.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Right? Or if they're like, 1 week.
Free trial.
Yeah, 7 days free. Maybe I put it in my
phone.
calendar. Because I'm like, I just want to try it. So I know that I should be paying more attention, especially I feel like for the content creators, I hear the complaints saying there are less places to shop your content because all of these places, all of these companies are gobbling up all the other companies. But as a consumer, I love it because I'm in the driver's seat. I don't have to sign up, and I can sign up for when I want to and then bail out when I want to, and I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to celebrate this or if I'm terrified by it. It kind of feels like Netflix, you know, it could be like an all-you-can-eat buffet of entertainment. So on one hand, that's super exciting. They're just acquiring like the best catalog of old Hollywood, Warner Brothers, and then Warner Brothers is also doing some of the best and biggest new releases this year, like Sinners and One Battle After Another. So that all feels really fantastic. But on the other hand, you know how a buffet, everything looks really good, but then you keep eating it and you're like, this all tastes the same. So that idea of, we've seen it in media before, like fewer studios, fewer newsrooms, fewer book publishers. It means fewer choices and fewer voices. So everything could kind of just become the same.
The same,
like
yeah.
those, 10 episode Netflix documentaries that could have been an hour and a half, but they want us to keep looking.
Right. But when we go back to the original story that it's theater owners, because listen, Netflix makes their money by you streaming at home.
Yeah, they want your butt.
They
in the
want your
couch.
butt at home.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. And there's so much investment happening now into really even taking the algorithm further to be able to recognize what butt is in front of that TV on the couch that day to really drive very personalized content. The flip side of this is if you look at the Warner Brothers catalog, it is legacy theater for sure. But the franchises like DC, for example, they're really struggling to find their footing. $40 billion, that is Warner Brothers' current debt load right now. So the question is, Netflix is going to buy that debt load. And so you can look at it two ways. Number one, you're saving Warner Brothers. You're saving the DC catalog.
Yeah.
You're saving Harry Potter and all the things that they own. Casablanca. Like, maybe these things would have disappeared. The other side of this is this ultimately the last nail in the coffin for theaters?
This is what scares me.
So because that's what they want.
I don't know if you heard, December 4th, a group of anonymous Hollywood A-listers actually sent a letter to Congress. They have grave concerns about this deal. They said that Netflix views any time spent watching a movie in a theater as time not spent on their platform. This is what it says in the letter. And that Netflix has no incentive to support theatrical exhibition. They have every incentive to kill it.
Even though they said they would.
And they do some theatrical releases, but mostly very short-lived and only because they want it to be an Oscar contender. So this is something to keep an eye on because, my God.
But don't theaters also need to change things up? It's too expensive to go to the movies.
I agree.
Oh my
Sorry,
gosh.
it should not cost me almost $100 of a family of four to go watch one movie. I'm sorry.
But I really love
you
the
guys
VIP
have to switch.
theaters. I really like the fancy stuff.
We do
at the
like it, but it's so
theaters.
expensive compared to staying at home and the convenience of just sitting in my living room, and then when I have to pee, I just press pause. And then I come back.
Kill the theater, guys.
So listen,
Don't kill the theater.
It's not a done deal. It's not a done deal.
They need to evolve and change their prices. It's too expensive.
Okay, the deal is not actually done yet because now the American government has to get involved, so we will continue to watch the story. Obviously, it's going to affect all of us.